Good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. I hope everyone's doing great today. I am here in Oregon, Ohio. I'm here at the Oregon Metro Park here in Oregon, Ohio, a suburb of Toledo. Now, I wanted to do a walk-around video of the park here, but for one, there's a crap load of people that are out here walking about. And secondly, when I did take my walk around the park earlier, there were a crap load of mosquitoes, and I was being bombarded by mosquitoes. So I figured, just for the quality of the content, it would be better if I just sat in one place and shot this video. So anyhow, this park brings a lot of good memories. I'll give you guys a view of where I'm at. Yeah, this park brings about a lot of good memories. Well, I'll just say memories. Now, here's a quick story. Now, back in 2009, in late 2009, I left Tennessee and I moved up here to Northwest Ohio. I lived in Toledo, and I lived in Toledo for around 9 months. And out of that 9 months, 4 out of those 9 months, I was unemployed. And on this video, I just want to share with you guys what I did to deal with unemployment, to deal with being broke and having no money and feeling a bit depressed. And hopefully this video will help out some of you guys that are currently going through unemployment issues, and you're going through depression and all that type of stuff. So anyhow, out of the 9 months I was here in Toledo, I spent 4 months of which without a job. Now, during that time I had no job, this is what I did. For starters, I came here to this park on a daily basis, and I would walk around these trails for about an hour. I don't care if it was nice outside and the sun was out, or if it was snowing. Now, the only time I did not come to the park was when it was raining. But any other day, I don't care what the temperature was. I don't care if it was snow on the ground or no snow on the ground. I came to the park and I walked an hour. And during the winter time, the benefits of coming to the park and walking in the winter time for me was A, it improved my circulatory system, and B, whenever my sinuses were a little congested due to having some type of a cold, the cold air would clear my sinuses. So after an hour walk in the park, I would go home. I would go home with a fresh mind. I felt a lot better about life. I felt better about everything. And then what I would do is I would spend the next hour to an hour and a half afterwards, once I got to my house, and I would just read. I would read different type of articles of how I could make some money. I would read different type of articles of ways to cut back on my finances. To cut back on spending, And also, while I was here at the park taking my walks, a lot of the things I've dreamed of being able to do one day, such as, let me start here. For the longest time, I've always had a dream of paying off my house and then being able to travel all over the country. Well, when I was living here in Toledo at the time, that dream was still very much in my mind. I wanted to have a paid off house, and I wanted to be able to travel the country. And given how cheap housing was here in Toledo at the time, I was hoping to be able to do that, which is why I chose to leave Tennessee and I moved up here to Toledo. Unfortunately, I underestimated how bad the economy at that time was, because I lived up here during the GFC, and I underestimated how bad the economy was. The economy was so bad that people, myself included, were unable to even get jobs at McDonald's. So during the time I was out of work, you know, all the dreams I've had, all the ideas I had, regardless of how crazy they may have seemed at that time, I thought of ways to realize those dreams, to realize those ideas and turn them into something significant in my life. I started going through the process in my mind of how I would have to do of what I would have to do to realize some of my dreams. Like what kind of money I need, what would I have to do to earn that money, you know, stuff like that. And sometimes I was onto something, and what I thought in my mind worked out very well for me. Many other thoughts I've had did not work out, unfortunately, so I had to scrap those ideas and let them go for other ideas. And there were also a lot of ideas that I thought about through reading. I would read magazine articles. I would read books. I would even go to the library and utilize their computer and go online and read, because at the time I was living up here in Toledo, I was so broke I couldn't even afford to have my own internet at my house. So I had to go to the library to use their computer in order to utilize the internet. So a lot of times that's what I did. My days were full of reading, looking for jobs, and coming here to the park and walking and getting my exercise. So it took me 4 months to get a job. And then after about 4 months, I finally landed a job working as an apartment maintenance person. There's like 13 of us for this huge apartment, Section A apartment complex, located over in Savannah Township, a Toledo suburb. And all 13 of us got let go. The apartment manager, our boss, he even got let go as well. I mean, the owner of the complex let go of the entire crew, everybody. So I would say from that point, about a month or so went by. So I was back to having no job. So I went back to the drawing board. You know, I came into the park for an hour and thought of ideas. I went back to my reading. I went back to job searching. And about a month later, I got a part-time job at Walmart, working as an assembler. And to make a long story short, me and my supervisor at that time, we did not get along at all. We bumped heads terribly. I mean, there were jobs that they wanted me to do, which I wasn't even supposed to do. I mean, I was supposed to assemble bicycles and toys and some pieces of furniture. And I had a timeline in which I had to have everything done. And I never was able to meet my timeline because A, I was fairly new at the job, and secondly, to be quite honest, I was never that fast of a worker. And thirdly, they also had me do other things throughout the store that was not related to the job. So I brought all that up to my supervisor, but my supervisor didn't seem to give two craps about that. He told me I gotta do what I gotta do. You know, X amount of bicycles and toys have to be done per day. If I don't get that done, that's gonna be points against me. So make a long story short, due to my inability to keep up with their pace, I was let go. And once I decided to leave, well, once I lost that job, I decided at that point, you know what, the economy here is trash. I didn't care for Toledo. I thought the city was trash. So I decided to sell my house and leave the city. Now, when I sold my house, I did take a substantial loss on the house. largely due to realtor fees. And I just packed up. At the time, I had a Chevy Cavalier. So I packed up my Chevy Cavalier and I left Ohio and I went over to Indiana because I had a friend at the time in Tennessee that used to live in Indiana. And they lived in Indianapolis. And they told me, hey man, go check out Indianapolis. Their economy is supposed to be on point. So I decided to go to Indiana because at this point I had nothing to lose. I mean, Indiana was right next door. It's like, let me go over to Indiana and check Indiana out and see what they're talking about. So I went over to Indiana, you know. It took me about a month to land a job in Indiana. So from the time I got to Indiana to the time, I would say for about maybe, if I can remember clearly, I mean, it was a good few months that I lived out of my car over in Indianapolis. Because even after I got my job in Indianapolis, I didn't want to spend that money right away on housing. I wanted to, A, make sure the job was going to work, B, I wanted to save money. So I just lived out of my car for a good several months up over in Indianapolis. And remind you, at the time I was living out of my car, I mean, I ain't never heard of no nomad life. I mean, because back when I was going through what I was going through, the internet was a thing, but it wasn't a thing the way it's a thing today. The whole nomad van life, living out the car movement, wasn't even a thing back in 2009, 2010. That wasn't even a thing. The terminology of being houseless did not exist. If you didn't own or rent sticks and bricks, you was homeless in the point period in the discussion. You was homeless. So in a nutshell, that's what happened to me during late 2009 into mid 2010. Well, late 2010. Because like I said, I spent a good several months homeless, so to speak, in Indianapolis. So I say all this because I understand there's a bunch of you out here going through a bunch of crap. You lost your job, and for those of you that might be a little older, like you're in your late 40s, early 50s, whatever, or you're my age in your mid 40s, you feel some kind of way because you lost your job, and whatever you're making off of unemployment, it's a fraction of what you made when you was working your regular job. Some of you lost your job, and for whatever reason, you may not qualify for unemployment, so some of you really are feeling some kind of way. And I'm here to let you all, and I know what I'm getting ready to say is easier said than done, but trust me, you know, if you lost your job, the worst thing that you can do is sit around and be depressed and do nothing. The best thing that you can do is, if you're not already doing so, get off the couch. Put down the bag of potato chips, put down your beer, put down your sugar drink, and exercise. You know, if you don't already have a gym membership, get you a gym membership. If you're too broke and can't afford a gym membership, then locate the closest park, the closest free park to your residence, and find a walking trail, like the walking trail that I'm sitting on right now, and take a walk. If you live in a colder climate, I don't care if it's cold outside, I don't care if there's several inches of snow on the ground. If you're not working, get your ass outside, walk in the snow, put on some lawn johns if you have to, put on some gloves if you have to, put on a hat, put on a heavy coat, whatever you gotta do to be comfortable in the winter. You know, get your ass outside and walk. I mean, the worst thing you can do is sit around and be depressed and have a pity party for yourself. And obviously, if you're out of work, you're going to want to continue to look for work. And another thing you're going to want to do is, if you're not already doing so, you might want to go ahead and start reading. Now, fortunately, with technology the way it is today, with the internet the way it is today, if you're not much of a reader, whatever piece of information that you think will be beneficial for your future, to better your life, go online and do that research. You know, there's YouTube, there's Google, there's Bing. I mean, there's all kind of engines that you can go to online and do whatever research that you need to do to find whatever material that you feel is necessary to better your life. I mean, don't spend hours in front of the TV watching a bunch of meaningless programs. Don't spend hours on the internet watching and listening to a bunch of meaningless crap online either, you know. If you're out of work, you know, like I said, move around, exercise. You know, read, go online, you know, do some research, educate yourself, you know, wise up. And a lot of people will also tell you to create a network of people that can help you land your next job, or they can help you throughout your career. Now, me personally, I think that's a good idea, but I also understand not everyone is going to be able to create a network of people like that. You got a lot of people online that talk about creating a network of people like it's easy, like you're going to just go up to a bunch of people and you're going to talk to them, and these people are going to gravitate to whatever it is you're doing or saying, and everything's going to be good. Now, sometimes, yeah, you go to some people, you chop it up with them, you know, they chop it up with you right back, everything good, you know. Before you know it, you got a little small network of people that can see you through your hard times. But a lot of times, especially in times like today, you got a lot of people crashing out, you got a lot of people on edge, and sometimes trying to network with people is gonna be somewhat of a impossible task. So sometimes you may not be able to network with people, which in that case you're gonna have to do your own research. You're gonna have to educate yourself, and you're gonna have to find ways to be at peace with yourself, which is what I had to do. Because here in Northwest Ohio, I tried to network with people, but it didn't work. So I had to figure out ways to take care of business on my own. So hopefully this video helps you guys out. Hopefully y'all got something out of the video. I could probably think of more things to add to the video, but the video is long enough as it is. I don't want to make it too long. So on that note, if you like what I do, you can give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't done so yet, subscribe to the channel. And on that note, I'm gonna holler at y'all. Stay blessed.